Welcome back to Champion News Talk Radio, brought to you by championnews.net, your choice for the conservative voice. This is Carol Parisi with our founder, Jack Roeser. And today our wonderful guest is Colonel Raymond True from the Republican Assembly of Lake County. And we've been having some fun during the break. But Jack, what was the problem with last year's election cycle?
Well, the problem with it and the bad result you got was the loss of the governor's race by Bill Brady. And the reason, you know, a loss like that, you'd rather forget it, excepting there's a great message in it.
Well, learning
there is so much to be learned from the losses and wins of that last election. Let's go to the positive side of it for a moment, and let's talk about the good stuff. The good stuff is we elected, outside of the normal runnings of the election of people that had good reasons to get elected, we had 4 congressmen that got elected, and a prominent among them was, of course, Joe Walsh. But they were elected primarily with Tea Party help in 4 of the 5 races that were new. The Tea Party had played a huge thing, and none bigger than Walsh, who won with no help from the National Party, no help from the State Party, and the contributions limited to $2,500. So there's no big money went in, and he was outspent. You know, these days it's the Democrats that have the money. It isn't the Republicans. It's the Democrats. And the incumbent spent 5 times as much as Walsh did, and he got elected, as did 3 others with a lot of Tea Party help. On the other hand,
Kinzinger and Holmgren.
Yeah, right. Good guys all. Deserved to win. Tea Party produced damn good candidates.
And if you recall those early days in the primary cycle, there was a lot of words being spoken out there to get Joe Walsh off the ballot, if you recall. Let's not let that go by.
Well, that's when you and I met.
That's right.
I was speaking to one influential man, and he says, I can't go for Walsh. He said the man was, you know, didn't have any of his own money and had lost his condominium and so forth. And I said, well, you're right about all that, but he sounds to me like a great American candidate. The guy laughed and became a supporter.
It's interesting that the Tea Party groups coalesced behind Joe Walsh, even though there was 6 other candidates in the primary. No one of those other 6 actually picked up a lot of support.
His message, it was that bold, non-vanilla message.
I personally maxed out, before I knew Joe Walsh, I maxed out with one of the other candidates.
Oh, really?
Maxed out, that's a $5,000 donation. But then when I saw Joe, the magic of his words and the way he had of speaking to our issues and never varying on it, I became a convert to that and worked with it and made it. That's when I met you and other people like you that did so much work on the ground because you didn't have the money.
No. We had the passion, though. And see, the thing is, you just said something about, and how this integrates to what you were saying with Brady and the messaging. His message was clear. It was simple. I feel like I'm losing my country. That is exactly what was happening with this.
I want to take back my country.
I want to take back my country. I'm losing my country. I want to take it back. I want to preserve it for my kids and grandkids and great-grandkids who aren't here. He understands the concept of unsubstantiated debt.
Okay, you laid that out. Because the Tea Party people are people of values.
Americanism.
And American values.
Yes.
The groundwork of that was laid by our founders and polished up, and we all know what that is about. The Tea Party people embody the really decent American spirit. And the trouble with the Brady thing is that it wasn't, as they tried to say, and as I'm hearing even recently from other people that are getting involved in this next election with money and other things. And they've been told that the thing was lost because of suburban women and this cultural junk was what lost it.
I don't recall that Brady actually reached out to the Tea Party, the NIPs, and the 912ers
Little bit,
in his election, not as strongly as Joe Walsh did.
No.
And that could have made the difference, obviously.
Why, of course. The Tea Party people showed how you can have a big success on the values, and the Republican Party actually got, from what they told to Governor of New Jersey,
Chris Christie.
Chris Christie, he was in for a luncheon, and they told him, you know, they were way ahead in the thing.
Right.
The advice that they all agreed on, even with, and they attributed to Christie, was do nothing that had an edge on it or controversial. Don't give the Democrats a chance to hit them on anything. Just be bland. Don't say anything that meant anything till after he's elected. So that was their direct policy, and they went down the tubes with it.
Didn't they have a strategy? They were going to win the election below I-80. That's where all the votes were going to come from.
They didn't
and
bother
kind
with
of left north of I-80, where all the population is,
All the population.
to itself.
Because if you look at
and
the
he did
map,
win south of
he
I-80.
won everything except for that St. Louis area and the Cook County
and
in
they
Chicago.
did nothing, and they did nothing about the city of Chicago.
Right.
The city of Chicago has a lot of voters there, and as does Cook County, which is under the same influence to a certain extent. But they did nothing to establish an office or to appeal to the voters in Cook County. As a result, there's a very small percentage of the vote went to Brady out of Chicago. So those are very good reasons why it lost. And there's such a contrast between the dynamism that came out of the Tea Party values, which were really the values of the Republican Party in its platform. And we got to look to the future as to why those unusual things with the congressman were won. And the other one that was supposed to be won, they're 15% ahead. And a lot of money. There was about $15 million went into Brady's race. The governor's group, national group, put a considerable amount of money in, but all that money was spent in pursuit of a very foolish policy by the local party. Luckily, the top end of the Republican Party that had a policy like that is gone. They aren't there, and the donors that were foolish enough, the in-state donors that put it behind there, they have gone to other places to contemplate their navel. And so these losers have opened it up to us that can have a big effect on the running of the Republican Party, because the top end had lousy direction, and all of us are stepping into the breach and putting in money.
It seems like you have to get back to basics. If you want to win as a Republican, why not espouse the Republican platform? I mean, what's wrong with that?
And the rest of the party is at the level you were at. The people in the county area, the chairman of the party, you're running the biggest conservative group in Lake County and spread out beyond that.
Right. You have a lot of members outside of Lake County.
And that's where the power of the Republican Party lies, is back into the congressional districts, the towns and counties of the Republican Party. We're rid of the yoke of the people with a wrong idea at the top of the party.
Well, we've also got a voting bloc that right now is probably more educated than any group of citizens have ever been. They know how serious the issues is, both on the national level and the state level. We can't afford to have milquetoast. We can't afford to have a candidate that's vanilla. We need a candidate that's going to stand up and stand up strong. And if they can't stand up as a candidate, how are they going to stand up when they get elected?
And nobody personifies that better than Joe Walsh.
Nobody personified that better than Joe Walsh, and nobody became more milquetoast than Bill Brady.
I had an opportunity to talk to Boehner, the Speaker of the House, John Boehner, just a few minutes. I'd had other, actually I'd contributed $50,000 to Boehner's campaign earlier, and Joe Walsh had conveyed it with 100 and some signatures to Boehner. He didn't get the money, it was my money, but I gave it to Joe to handle in. And I talked to Boehner and I said, isn't Joe doing something that is good for you when he's so outspoken about all this? He can say things that it would not be good politics for you to say from your position just now. Isn't that good for you? I think Boehner was sincere when he said to me, yes, I think that is it. It is good.
I think that's an excellent point, because we wouldn't want our speaker to be mimicking some of the things that Joe Walsh said, but it gets people back in line. What is it to be a Republican? What is it to be a conservative? These are the things you have to believe in.
We have some real goals that are uniting us all. It's working.